Rachimov kind of had to clean up his act a little bit as he steps into a world title fight for the first time.
Right here we're seeing two left-handers, southpaw versus southpaw. We know Joseph Diaz's only loss is to a southpaw and Gary Russell Jr. And when it comes to Rachimov, I asked him how many southpaws he's faced. He says about 6 or 7 as a professional. So nothing new for Rachimov facing a left-hander.
You know, speaking of Freddie Roach, there was a lot of talk a few weeks back about Rachimov testing positive for COVID-19. Freddie Roach himself tested positive for COVID-19 in January. Thankfully, his symptoms were mild. He was able to recover pretty quickly, but certainly scary. You hear about Freddie Roach testing positive.
Diaz actually facing his 4th consecutive southpaw opponent. That's incredible. Ruben Tamayo, Gary Russell Jr., Freddie Fonseca, Jesus Cuadro, and Tevin Farmer. Back to back to back to back.
Nice left hand there by Diaz catching Rachimov.
There's a free here. Work out of it. Work out of it. Let him go, Joe.
A win over Diaz certainly propels Rachimov on to some big fights.
I like that jab that Diaz is stabbing Rachimov with.
Rachimov got off balance there. Left hand from Jojo Diaz. Caught him again.
Diaz's accuracy can be a big factor in this fight. Rachimov is an aggressive fighter, but his aggression can be used against him. It was in that last fight against Fuzili, where he was losing before the knockout in the 8th round, and part of that was because Fuzili was timing him, coming in and using that aggression against him.
Fuzili also boxed real nicely going backward. He had pretty fast hands and nice body punching right there by Jojo Diaz.
Oh, and a big left hand. You can see the Russian's neck snap to the left.
Rachimov is rocked with that shot.
You want to irritate Jojo Diaz? Tell him he doesn't have any power. He really believes that his power is going to start to emerge as his career moves forward. Hasn't shown that one-punch knockout power, but he believes it's there.
That was a big punch, man. You got to give credit to Rachimov taking that punch.
All right, stop. No punch.
Whether you have power or not, when you land that cleanly, I'm telling you.
I know.
Well, Jojo Diaz, when informed of the comments from Farmer yesterday, said, "Don't worry, I will fight him again. I'll beat him. In fact, I will end his career." So he is not affected at all, apparently, from the shouts from those outside the ring here tonight. But he's got a fight on his hands here with Rachimov as blood starts to trickle out of his nose. But another straight left hand. Sergio, that seems to be the punch that's landing the most.
Rachimov starting off real aggressive here, and that's what he needs to do with Diaz taking the momentum. But Diaz is feisty too. He's coming back with the shots of his own. And this is where he made the mistake with Gary Russell Jr. He tried to outbox him in the first half of the fight, but he needed to pressure Russell. He just was too slow for him. Right here, Diaz keeping punch for punch with Rachimov.
Okay.
Earlier you said we were going to have a lot of blood here tonight, Sergio, and we see some now dripping onto the chest of Diaz Jr.
Yeah, it looks like Diaz's nose is bleeding.
Of course, in his fight against Tevin Farmer, one of the nastiest cuts you'll see. I don't know how he completed that fight, but somehow that cut cooperated. So the pandemic may have been a blessing in disguise, as it gave him plenty of time to have that cut heal. Oh, nice snapping shot again as Rachimov fires back.
Rachimov is timing Diaz down. He's already found the distance nicely. Body shots there by Jojo.
Now, both these guys are committed body punchers. Rachimov, one of his best punches, that left hook to the body.
The combination finished off with the left.
Don't wait for him to start. All right, stop. No punch. Straight back.
Joseph Diaz Sr. wants his son to concentrate more on the body, and I agree right here, because that's exactly what Rachimov is susceptible to. He's a little bit taller, keeps his elbows in nicely, but if he can keep his elbows in, just digging down to the body like that, It's exactly how you build points and win rounds.
I know we're looking at Chris's scorecards, Sergio, but how do you score? Do you think that the more punches thrown and landed by Rakhimov are winning the rounds, or the heavier shots from Diaz?
I have a 3-2 for Diaz right now. That last round was a close round. Both of them had their moments, but I gave it to Diaz.
I didn't think it was close. I gave that to Rakhimov. I think I mean, I respect what you're saying, but I think Rakhimov has been more active, more accurate, and you can hear, I don't know if it's frustration in the corner of Diaz, but they want him doing more. They don't want him just sitting back and waiting for Rakhimov to get tired as this fight goes on.
Joel Diaz no longer in the corner of Jojo Diaz.
See that right there? These are punches that aren't landing, but they look good for the judges right now. So Rakhimov could continue punching at the gloves of Jojo Diaz and winning rounds if Jojo's not going to counter.
And I can understand why Diaz believes that he can succeed more in the later rounds. He's gone 12 rounds 5 times, whereas Rakhimov has only done it once. So he's more confident, more experienced in those later rounds. But Rakhimov just looks too sharp to maybe assume that.
Hey, don't turn around. Let's go. Go wait for him. You gotta cut him and go, damn it.
Oh, nice shot there. The best one perhaps of the fight by Rakhimov, who even enjoyed his own work.
Stop.
Jojo holding on. You can tell he got buzzed and rocked by that shot.
Joe, back up. Don't do that, all right? Let's go.
Rakhimov thinks Jojo's hurt a little bit.
That's the problem when you start putting on too much pressure. You're going to be susceptible to big punches and counter shots like that. Always got to fight behind that jab.
Rakhimov with an 80% knockout ratio. He does have power.
Doesn't look like the fighter I've seen in his most high-profile fights. Even against Gary Russell, I thought Diaz fought reasonably well. I thought he stuck to
Nice left hand there from Rakhimov, and that physically moved Diaz. You can see that woke something up inside of him, and he's firing back now, and we're finally getting the action we hope for.
There's the power of Rakhimov. He has it with that left hand.
I thought it was Diaz. I think they both landed left hands right there because I saw Diaz land a nice shot on Rakhimov.
Yeah, but I think Diaz got the worst of it. It was a cleaner punch by Rakhimov.
Right hand from Rakhimov.
They're both exchanging big left hands.
Stop. I know, but if he's holding, you can't get back here. Time.
Here we're going to see the exchange of left hands, and Jojo landed right there from that angle cleanly. 2 left hands and then that right hook. But from this angle right here, you're going to see Rakhimov landing his left hand cleanly. It's just a back and forth close fight.
Sergio, how challenging is it in that last round
No punch.
of a championship level fight or a big fight to do that, to just let your hands go and throw caution to the wind?
Well, whenever you're getting timed, like I just said, by hooks by Jojo Diaz, and he's been, I mean, Jojo's a former champion. Now, he was introduced as a former champion, but he's been to this level, the 11th and 12th round, and he knows how to slow things down. That's what he's doing here. That's why he's
Nice
controlling.
right hand by Diaz.
I mean, he's closing the show now, Diaz. In a close fight, Diaz is closing out the show like a champion.
There's a power punch landing for Rakhimov.
This has been a fight-saving finish, though, for Jojo Diaz, who looked like he was in big trouble in those middle rounds. But we talk about the conditioning, problematic, sure, in this fight for Diaz, who missed weight, but he has been the better conditioned fighter in these last few rounds.
Oh, nice entry-level shot. He's fallen back to his old ways. It has produced some success here in the last few rounds. Did he do enough? Will we have a new IBF Super Featherweight champion?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, after 12 exciting rounds of action inside the ring, we go to the judges' scorecards. Here are the totals. Robert Hoyle, 115, 113 for Diaz. Overruled by both Fernando Villarreal and Zach Young, who scored 114, 114. This bout is a majority draw.
Wow. Well, Chris Mannix
Hey, right here, guys.
Well done with your scorecard.
Thank you, man. Very much.
And neither man really upset with that. Jojo Diaz, I thought, would be a little perturbed, but the look on his face, Sergio tells me, he's fine with it.